2010 was a year of God moving in unexpected and amazing ways. God's perfect timing and complete ability to orchestrate all the details left us rejoicing, and we quickly realized again that something much greater is at work here than what we could do. There was no way that we could have planned all the parts to fall together like they did. Every detail, every person, every resource that was needed arrived right on time to make it all happen. The word this year seemed to be orchestration. We had so much fun just watching God bring together His plan. As we reached the end of 2009, we began to gear up for another amazing year of equipping and training leaders when unusual resources began to show up from several different locations. We received 14 pallets of mosquito nets, over 2,400 pairs of new shoes, and 54 boxes of meal packets that would provide over 13,000 meals. We were not sure how this all would be distributed until Nations Training Institute offered to partner with us to bring a medical outreach into a part of Kenya called Baringo, where people were starving and in dire need of food and medicine and just love. We contacted the pastors in that area and organized an outreach, and then over a 4-day period, we set up a medical clinic, had 2 doctors, 3 nurses, a pharmacy, a feeding station, as well as a station for giving out shoes and mosquito nets and toys and food. We gave out all the food packets we brought, over 1,000 pairs of shoes, over 500 mosquito nets, along with all the medicines and food brought by NTI. Over $28,000 just in medicines. And while the members of the town were receiving needed aid, we were able to minister the Word of God to the local pastors. In all, we touched more than 2,500 people. Because of this outreach, we bolstered the ministries of the local pastors by demonstrating the love of God to such desperate people. As I saw the people lined up to see the doctors, then go to the pharmacy, then receive gifts of shoes and food and mosquito nets, and remembered how this all came about, how could we have orchestrated such a thing? However, that's not all the story. God put us in contact with someone who was taking supplies to the hard-hit areas of the earthquake in Haiti. We had enough shoes and mosquito nets and supplies to send 16 pallets of resources to Haiti. How could we have orchestrated such a thing? If that was all we would have done in 2010, it would have been an amazing year. But we saw God move in the lives of pastors and leaders in East Africa on a scale that we've never seen before. In June, we hosted our biggest event yet, the East Africa Leadership Summit. Wow, this was the largest gathering of pastors of this kind that this part of the world has ever seen. Over 4,000 pastors. For almost 2 years, we worked to gather key leaders together and to bring unity and healing and direction and encouragement to so many leaders in the Church of East Africa. Every denomination was represented, as well as pastors representing more than 50 African tribes from 8 different nations. We gave away a motorcycle, a sound system, 2 pastoral libraries, over 60 computers, and more books and Bibles than we could count. For 2 full days, they were filled with teaching and resources that surpassed anything even seen before in Nairobi. At the end of the summit, we launched a pastors network that will create a structure for new ministry opportunities in the years to come. A couple of weeks prior to the event, we sent out an appeal for funds to help bring a delegation of pastors from Uganda who wanted desperately to come but simply could not afford the transportation to get there. We needed $2,000 in donations to help them, and within 20 minutes of sending you out the emails, we had the $2,000. But within the next 24 hours, you gave approximately $8,000. As it turned out, the response for the summit was so overwhelming that we went over the projected budget. However, because of the extra you gave, we ended up with enough to meet every need. We were just shaking our heads. The impact from this meeting is still being felt, and it's yet to be seen what fruit we'll see over even the next 2 years. How could we have orchestrated such a thing?
We hosted 8 regional pastors' meetings in the nations of Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. We taught and gave away resources to grateful pastors. In March, we hosted a pastors' conference at CMM with close to 800 pastors receiving training for 4 days. In July, we took 35 pastors and wives through a 2-day retreat and saw God heal broken marriages and work miracles in families. In August, we hosted over 700 teens from all over Kenya. CMM was on fire for 4 days of awesome ministry with over 250 saved. In October, we hosted 350 pastors from the Maasai tribe. They were overwhelmed by what they were freely given. In addition, we had 59 ministers from the US come to Kenya to help us in ministry. How could we have orchestrated such a thing? There's no way we could have done all of this without your help in continuing to build the facilities at CMM. This year, we were able to complete the kitchen and dining hall only because God orchestrated again. We had finished phase 1 and 2, but still needed to complete phases 3 and 4, about $30,000. This would be near impossible because funding the summit would be our biggest expense for 2010. And to do 2 big events all in 1 year would appear to be too challenging. However, at just the right moment, someone calls us and reminds us that they had wanted to make a gift. How much was it? Exactly what we needed to finish the dining hall. We now have 6,000 square feet kitchen and dining that is beautiful and spacious and was finished 2 days before all the pastors arrived for the summit. How could we have orchestrated such a thing? We have been in need of more bath and shower facilities due to hosting so many more pastors at CMM. So we sketched out plans for a small bathhouse. Even though there was no more building money for 2010, the need was great because of 2 large meetings in December. What happens? Someone visiting in October to help minister in the Maasai conference asks what our most immediate need is. They make 1 phone call and we have the money to build our bathhouse. How could we have orchestrated such a thing?
Our 7th year of ministry in Africa went to the next level. The number of leaders blessed, the number of needy people helped, the amount of resources given, the meetings, the building, the open doors. Now 2011 is upon us. What will this coming year bring? For 2011, another medical and food outreach is planned, as well as leadership conferences in March and in June, a marriage conference in July, a youth conference in August, another Maasai conference in October, as well as outreaches in Uganda and possibly the Congo. Plus, we are planning now to enlarge the pavilion to nearly double the capacity so that we can seat everyone under the roof instead of on the ground and under tents surrounding the pavilion. How will all this happen? I don't try to figure it out anymore. I share the needs and watch God orchestrate all the details to make it happen. Thank you for all your support for 2010, for your sacrifice, your heart for Africa, and being part of a team to impact these nations. Your investment was multiplied this year. Now will you help us again for 2011? And as a team, we can do this. We can change a nation as we change the leaders. Let's do it.